is our pleasure to welcome to the show Anthony Armstrong, former Washington receiver, also host of the Washington podcast on the Believe Football Network. Anthony, what's up, man? Welcome to the show.
Man, I'm good. Thanks for having me. I can say this. Wasn't expecting that choice of music coming in. I appreciate that, man. And we gonna make it. I like that. Who chose that? Was that your choice?
It's definitely on my list. Haney's definitely in charge of all of the music, but we've got an approved list. Occasionally he'll go off script and we got to rein him back in, but that was a good one.
I'm not mad at it. I appreciate it.
So I want to talk to you about a bunch of different stuff, but I want to start talking to you specifically about this receiving core here in Washington. Obviously, for those that don't know, that was Anthony's position, played it very well here in D.C. So when you watch Terry play, he was just rated one of the top 10 guys in Madden, which take that for what it's worth. There's a million rankings going on this time of year. He's somewhere between the 5 and 15th best receiver. I would say he's probably closer to 5, but that's just my own personal opinion. What do you see when you watch him, though, and how does that compare to some of the elite guys in the game?
Man, Terry definitely is starting to get the credibility and the respect that he deserves. If the statistics don't blow you away, he's consistently around 1,100, 1,200 yards. But you got to think he's played football with about 20 different quarterbacks. So he's had success in spite of that situation. And I'm glad that he's finally getting recognized as one of the top guys in this league. I think he falls in that 8 to 12 range, depending on how you want to argue it. He's able to go up and win the 50-50 ball. You saw the play against Stephon Gilmore, one of the best corners in this league. He gets to see him twice this year. So he's not afraid of that matchup. He's able to do everything he can to help get the ball down the field, run after catch, getting open on third downs. And even when you knew he was getting the ball, Terry was able to go out there and make a play. He's definitely one of the top guys in the league.
Yeah, Terry's a guy that reminds me a little bit, just in terms of the production stuff, of Santana. Like, Santana and I have talked about this. Obviously, you played with Tana for a lot of years. Like, if Santana had good quarterback play, or even consistently, like, average quarterback play, he's probably in the Hall of Fame. Like, Santana was that good. And while Terry's got a long way to go to be at that level, just in terms of he's young and still not there, like, I do wonder with a quarterback, even this year in Sam Howell, who perhaps plays a little bit more to Terry's strengths, what he can do. And, I would love also to get your perspective on this. What does it mean to now have Jahan Dotson in year 2, Curtis, and some of these other weapons? How can that free up Terry?
Well, you finished with a great point with when you look back at Terry's history. Yeah, having a true, strong, consistent threat at that second receiver spot has been one thing that has really hindered his production. When everybody knows you're going to get the ball in key situations, third downs, et cetera, they're going to key on you. So now having a Jahan, having Curtis, especially healthy Curtis Samuel, is going to be huge for Terry's numbers. I really think his numbers can go up this year. I think he should, probably catch over 100 balls, 100 touchdowns would be great, but catch over 100 passes and clear 1,300 yards receiving. I think that's very doable, even if you have a couple of the pass catchers out there. Comparing him to Santana, that's definitely a lot of respect. And I can see that being a true statement. Whenever you're going to get the ball, you're going to go to 89 in those key situations. People are going to pay attention to what you're doing. So having some help on that opposite side is really going to help this whole offense flourish. And there's always an EB effect about it, too. I think that you got to just know he's going to put a little extra spice on some things that are going to make some things easier for those guys.
So that's what I was going to ask you next. Anthony Armstrong's with us here on the Hoffman Show. Like, EB has, I would say, a very difficult job because there is a ton of skill talent to get the ball to. So many different guys who are talented. He's also got essentially a rookie quarterback, second-year guy with 1 start and 16 passes under his belt. And he's getting to know this personnel as well. So if you're Eric Bieniemy, how are you approaching getting the ball to all these playmakers this year and in a way that's conducive to all their success with all the limitations but all the ability in this giant equation?
Yeah, that's an awesome question. It's kind of like putting together just the perfect recipe, the perfect food. You got to have all the right ingredients. And first and foremost, I think you have the right temperament of guys in that room that understand they each play at 1/11th of what's going on that offense. And if you go back and look at the success that Kansas City's had, I don't think you're going to really see anybody banging on the table saying, "Get me the football. I need to catch 150 passes." That's not what's going to happen here. You got guys that are scrappy, they're hardworking. And frankly, you see what EB's done. He's been able to throw the ball around. I was recently looking at the tape of Kansas City versus Jacksonville. They were down a few receivers, and I didn't realize how much time they spent in three tight end sets. They did so many things in different packages to get different guys in. So if you execute in this offense, you know that the ball is going to make it your way. And as dangerous as everybody is with the ball in their hands after the catch, that's going to be even more of a reason to execute on your, if you're the decoy on this play, just understand it's going to come back to you that you're going to get your chance to do something with it later. So I don't think it'll be a problem at all. I think EB is going to just really light a fire into these guys to play at an even higher level.
One of the things that I think has been interesting over the last couple of years is kind of the general thoughts around the NFL about how to best insulate a quarterback. And Kyle is obviously someone who has played a leading role in this, where it's like, no, the way to insulate a quarterback isn't necessarily to just run the ball 50 times, because then when he has to pass it, it's bad down in distance and you're putting a lot on his plate. So how do you think they set up game plans to make Sam successful, knowing that what you just said, this is what triggered the thought, is like, if you get the ball quickly to these guys, they can make plays. So how do you set up a successful game plan to mix the run in successfully, have the right amount of play action, the right amount of drop back to kind of maximize, maximize all the pieces, but looking at it through that lens of insulating Sam in a way that he can be successful?
Sure. The one thing about the NFL is they're going to make you do what you're not the best at. If you're going against Sam, I know they're going to see a lot of 8-man boxes. They're going to try to shut down the run as much as possible. They're going to test that offensive line. So EB is going to call quick plays. They're going to spend a lot of time throwing the ball behind the line of scrimmage, frankly. Some screens, just quick, get the ball to Antonio Gibson. He's going to be a matchup problem against linebackers coming out of the backfield. So play calling that way is going to be huge. Just being able to get the ball to your playmakers, that's going to get teams out of that blitz. And overall, don't make him make any – he doesn't have to make any crazy decisions. Don't put too much on his shoulders. I think there's enough variety in what Bieniemy was able to do last year. And Sam, I like that he's already looked at the playbook once he knew that EB was going to be the guy. And once he found out he was the coordinator, he was already looking at Kansas City film. So he started to kind of get an understanding of how to run the offense. And is he Patrick Mahomes? No, not yet. But when comparing the two, watching, just tape a little bit of both of the guys, there's some physical traits that you can look to Sam and say, okay, he does understand how to get the ball out of his hands quickly. He's not freaked out or scared under pressure. So I think everything's going to be fine. I don't want him to throw 45 times a game. I don't think that's it. But having him limit him to like 25, I don't think that's it either. You got some playmakers out there. They're going to win one-on-one. And he's accurate enough with the ball that's going to gash some defenses.
I also think that there's kind of the extension of the running game stuff that you mentioned, right? The screen game and stuff like that. I'm in a very schematic adventure mode right now. I listened to the podcast series, The Play Callers, about how Kyle and Sean and everybody came up with that, this modern version of this West Coast offense and how it's evolved over time. And I'm curious for you, as someone was here with Kyle in 2010, 2011, the year before, obviously, they change everything around and make it work with Robert on that 2012 team. Like, did you see any baseline level stuff that they built on in 2012? Some things that even you see with, say, San Francisco now or LA now, or what McDaniel's doing in Miami, what LaFleur's doing in Green Bay. Did you see some of those baseline level things start to come together, the start of this revolution?
Man, when I think about that 2010, just offense, I feel like that was mostly old school, Houston, Matt Schaub, Arian Foster, very much a stretch game. Now, you don't see that much anymore. There's not a lot of guys who are just lining up in, 2 tight end, 12 personnel and just trying to run stretch and get on the edge now. Now it's a lot of motions, and you're seeing a lot of creativity in how you get people into different places. I think that for the most part, Sean McVay and Kyle tend to stay a little bit more towards the traditional side of what's been going on there. I'm intrigued to see just how Miami goes creatively versus where San Francisco goes creatively, because obviously Mike McDaniels took a lot of that brain knowledge down to Miami. And the way that he attacks defenses is, frankly, he hits them in a different spot than what you normally would get gashed in those zones. So he was very creative in how he did that. So It's interesting to see everybody have their own little nuances to it, right? Depending on um, everybody has a different a superstar player, if you will. Christian McCaffrey gives you a lot of ability to do basically whatever you want out of the backfield. Run it, throw it to him. He's going to get open. Makes it easy on a Brock Purdy or whoever is under center. Then Tua has just a plethora of receivers and so much speed that you just have to find a way to get them the ball in their hands in stride, and then they're going to gash some defenses. And then Sean, I mean, he's got a crazy route runner in Cooper Cup, so he just almost has a weight on him to get open and then deliver the ball. So they've all found a way to have some success with what what they've been given. But it's been an interesting change and evolution for sure.
For sure. Obviously, a lot of response to what defenses are doing as they change as well. Just this constant cat and mouse game. So, Anthony, where can people find the podcast? Give them more information if they want more insight from you.
Oh man, y'all check me out on the Believe in Commander show, all your favorite streaming platforms. You can tune in over there. There's some on the Believe Network's YouTube as well. And I've been posting some things on Twitter. It's at Rated Armstrong now. That covers all the social media. It's all the same.
There you go.
Don't have to worry about anything being different.
Love that. Love that. Nice and easy. Anthony, this was great. We'll definitely have you back. Thanks so much for coming on the show.
Man, appreciate it. Thank you.
This is the Hoffman Show on the T980 and the Odyssey app.